So I, being a good number two, followed him round. And as we went through a westerly heading, I saw to my horror the other three aircraft hopping over the saddle in the hills and running in on the airfield, which meant that I was going to be the last one over the airfield, which is just where I didn't want to be. I came around the side of Mount Low, going as fast, as low as I'd ever been, doing 480-ish knots at 50 feet. And my first sight of the airfield was just a huge hemisphere of explosions. And my initial thoughts were quite illogically were that the cluster bombs were going off early. And what it was anti-aircraft fire, tracer, explosions, missiles, just everything crisscrossing the sky. And for about a nanosecond, I thought, Christ almighty. And then I was aware of my hand going forwards and then back again, purely involuntary. And I was down at about 5 or 6 feet over the water, still doing 480 knots. It just seemed a bit safer down there somehow. I dived between a couple of small islands, the Tussock Islands, which are only about 15 feet high, if that, but afforded me some cover at the height I was. And I could see people up on the sand dunes on the north side of the airfield firing down at me, and see the old flashes on the sand dunes, and see the tracer coming towards me. And it was weird. Sounds stupid. It was just like a war film where the tracer comes up in a sort of lazy arc and then suddenly accelerates past you. And it does. It's just like that. And I could see the stuff bouncing off the water all around me. And I went to fire my guns, squeezed the trigger, trying to put a bit of 30mm into the sand dunes, and nothing happened. And I realized later that I hadn't actually put the guns masters on. Lesson number one in wartime: make your guns live as soon as you're airborne. Don't wait until you're pointing in a safe direction on the range. Anyway, I then came over the sand dunes, and looking at the gun sight film afterwards, all of us were between, the radio altimeter was flicking between 5 and 15 feet as we were on the run in.